Hi, my name's Adam. Welcome to the channel. Thanks for joining us today. Today we're going to talk about retiring a little early and what to do with CPP. And this is a question we get obviously all the time. CPP is a big factor. And a lot of you say, well, Adam, if I pay into CPP and retire early, 50, 55, 60, I have more years of non-contributory years, which does affect the amount you're going to get from your CPP payment. But that doesn't necessarily mean you should take it early. So we're going to kind of break down a scenario here. Today we're going to use a 55-year-old single female. Now this person again turns 55 on October 1st, retiring at the end of this year, and starting in 2023 will start her retirement process. But should she take CPP at 60, at 65, at 70, somewhere in between? So we're going to break down those numbers and show them to you within the planning software. Like any illustration that we show you guys on this channel, there's always going to be a bit of pushback. So again, we've put life expectancy to age 87, and we've assumed a few things for CPP calculation. We assume that from the age of 18 to 25, she earned some income. So she earned 50% of YMPE. So there's kind of a maximum amount that you can pay into CPP every year. So from 18 to 25, we've assumed 50%. So she didn't max it out, she just paid 50%. From age 26 to 35, so the next 10 years, she got up to 75% of max. And from age 36 to 55, she paid the maximum amount that she could into CPP. So we tried to make it, not 100% from day one, because that's probably not realistic. Now, again, if she retires at 55, we've assumed zero payment into her Canadian pension plan from age 55 now until age 65. If you have 10 years of no payment into CPP, it's going to lower the amount of CPP payment that you get when you do start taking out CPP. If this is all confusing to you and CPP and calculation, it should be. It is very complicated. We do have some videos on this breaking down the calculation of that, and we'll link that above. If you haven't watched that video, make sure to take a look at that or search our channel. We have a lot of videos on CPP, the calculation, how it works, when to take it, and we'll continue to create more videos going forward on CPP because it's probably the number one thing that people ask us about. So let's look at three different scenarios, taking CPP at 60, at 65, and at 70. So the very first thing we need to do is jump into a calculator and figure out, based on how much we paid in, what is going to be the output from CPP if we started at those three different times, 60, 65, and 70. So we've used an online calculator. Again, this online calculator is fairly accurate. If you have any child rearing years or CPP disability years, your payment is going to be different. So this client, this is assumption, we've assumed that she did not have any kids and she did not have any years of CPP disability. So we've put in her information, which you'll see up on the screen now. And if we run it out, you'll see at age 60, her Canadian pension plan benefit monthly will be $695. If she was to wait until age 65, it would jump up to $1,008. So again, if you said, well, if her CPP payment at 65 is $1,008, taking it at 60, she should get 36% less. It's 0.6 per month reduction if she takes it early. And as you can see, it's a bit more than that. So that's where, again, there's more non-contributory years. It will drop down, but it's still beneficial. So again, $695 at 60. At 65, it's $1,008. And if she waits all the way to age 70 to take it, it's going to be $1,431. So now let's take those numbers and put them into the planning software and run her retirement out to age 87 to see when does it make sense for her financially and income-wise, after tax income, when does it make sense for her to take her Canadian pension plan. One last data point for this client, we've put her with a few assets. So we have an RRSP worth $200,000, a tax-free savings account worth $50,000, and we've assumed she has a defined benefit pension plan. And so this is gonna run $15,000 from now until 65. Her bridge will drop off and the pension reduces to $10,000, and it's increased at a 2% inflation rate. So when we jump into the planning software, you'll see here we've started CPP in this scenario at age 60. Her CPP benefit will be $83.40, which is that $695 times 12 months. If we click on her assets, you'll see here she has her RSP worth $200,000 and a TFSA worth $50,000. And then on the pension side, again, she's getting $15,000 per year of pension, indexed at 2%. And when she turns 65, that's going to reduce down to $10,000. So if we look at the plan itself and say, based on those parameters and starting CPP, you can see her CPP starts at age 60. We've left her OAS at 65 in all of these scenarios. You'll see if we run the maximum amount, and basically what we're saying is based on the assets, the pension, everything that she has, we want everything to run to zero by age 87. And that's what that does here. Runs down to $700. What is the after-tax income? And we put inflation at 2.5%. It runs at $31,486. So that's the income in real dollars after tax from now until age 87 if she took her CPP at age 60. Again, the nominal dollar is what she will actually have in her pocket after tax, adjusted for inflation. So again, if you don't understand real dollar versus nominal dollar, the real dollar stays level. That is after tax money. The nominal dollar is what she'll actually receive. So we want to increase that number by 2.5% every year to keep that buying power the same. So that's what we're looking at. So again, if we jump back into here, you'll see $31,486 is her annual after-tax income in today's dollars that she'll receive if she starts CPP at age 60. Now let's jump into looking at CPP at age 65. So again, it was $1,008. If we run that out for 12 months, it's going to be $12,096. So you'll see that there starting at age 65. Everything else is the same. Her pension, her RRSP and TFSAs. Now, again, if we run that in, you can see her CPP starting at 65, same time as her old age security. You'll see the income's jumped up now. Her real dollar after tax income jumps from 31,486. We're now up to 32,121. So again, if we look at what is the after-tax benefit or the after-tax income to her to delay CPP to 65, there's a net benefit. She goes from 31,400 to 32,100. Now it's not a big jump, but again, we're not talking about a big income here, period. But it's more money in her pocket, especially someone like this that has a bit of a lower income. Every dollar matters. And at the end of the day, it's a jump of $700 after tax. That's enough to maybe go on a small trip, buy something, whatever it is. It's still extra money in your pocket. The last scenario I want to look at here is age 70. So what happens if we defer all the way to age 70? You'll see here, again, income is $1,431 per month, $17,172 per year. And if we go into the planning page here, you're going to see, again, on the left side, that real dollar, that's what we're looking at. Like, what is the after-tax in my pocket dollar? It jumps up again, $32,373. So a couple $100, about $250 more per month in today's dollars versus age 65. So the conclusion here would be, if you're healthy and all that, it tells me that deferring CPP to age 70 is going to be your greatest financial benefit if you're looking at income. And typically, if you're in retirement, you're looking at income. How can I generate the most amount of income? You're not worried as much about estate and that kind of stuff, especially again in a scenario like this. One question you may have on defined benefit plan, and a lot of people I talk to, they say, Adam, if I have a defined benefit plan and the bridge drops off at 65, that's when I should start CPP. And in this scenario, you'll see here, when the bridge drops, so 17,000 down to 12, that's when her OAS starts. But typically, like let's say she had a $40,000 pension that dropped down and her OAS didn't cover the difference. It still typically will make the most sense to defer that CPP and use RSP money to balance that difference. What we call the RRSP Meltdown. Use your RRSP, your registered funds, earlier, spend that earlier and defer that guaranteed government defined benefit pension plan in that CPP for later in life. That typically 99% of the time that's going to work in your favor. So again, in this scenario, if we go back to this client, her RSP withdrawals are roughly the same. They drop off the map when her CPP. So again, that keeps the taxable income the same. If we look at her effective, her average tax rate, you can see from age 60 to 65, it's a little bit higher here. So typically we do a proper RRSP meltdown strategy. Here it's drawing out her TFSA quickly. Typically we would take a bit more RRSP early, level this out a bit. What we want to do is level out her TFSA and RRSP a bit better to create a more level effective or average tax rate. I haven't done that here. That's just going to create more efficiency and make delaying CPP even that much greater. But I didn't want to get into all the tax planning per se. I just want to put in raw numbers and show you, even if you were to retire at 55 or even 50, pick your number. It's still typically, and when I say typically, I mean 99% of the time, delaying your CPP will still make the most financial sense. Now, obviously if you say, yeah, Adam, but if I die at 70, then I've lost out. And sure, obviously you have. But if you are going to use life expectancy, which I don't see why you wouldn't, and again, if you have a health issue and you think you're going to die earlier, or everyone in your family's died early, then that would be a reason to take CPP earlier. This illustration is not for you. You are in that 1 percentile. If you're a healthy person and you expect to live as long as the average person, then this should line up with what you're looking to plan. And again, typically when you hit retirement, you're looking, how can I maximize the income? You're not typically looking to say, well, how can I leave the most money to my family, but leave me shorthanded? You're looking to maximize your income. If you're in a situation where you have lots of money, maybe you have a big defined benefit plan, or you've built up a lot of assets, then it's a combination of the two. How do we get you enough income in a tax efficient manner, but then also look at the estate plan and build that up as tax efficiently? That's not what we're looking at here. Again, what we're looking at here is how do we maximize the income on retiring early, looking at CPP, OAS, and what you built up between your defined benefit pension plan, your RSP, and your TFSA. So for those of you that have retired early or are looking to retire early and aren't sure when to take your CPP, we'll link the calculator below. Again, there's that online CPP calculator. Put in your CPP number and you can kind of get what your CPP is going to look like at 60, 65, or 70, or somewhere in between. Start working backwards from there. Again, if you're really uncertain how everything kind of comes together, we do offer fee-for-service financial planning. Reach out to our office or check out parallelwealth.com/planning. All the information on our financial plans. But this is what we do. We take your information, we put it in, and we map out best strategy. How do we put more after-tax money in your pocket? How do we look at paying CRA less money? How do we maximize your retirement? That's what's important here. Don't worry about, well, if I die at 70, I've left money on the table. One client that I can think of that said, Adam, build my plan to 70. I won't live past then. He was in his mid-50s. That's fine. We can build that plan. It's a unique situation, but that's not your typical situation. So make sure your plan follows, what you expect. Again, I have a lot of people reach out and say, Adam, deferring CPP really doesn't make sense because if I die early, I'm leaving money on the table. But if you live to when you're supposed to, statistically when you're supposed to, then you're leaving money on the table. So if you want to play devil's advocate, you need to look at that other side. And again, this can be up for debate. If you retired early and started CPP early, leave a comment below. I always like to hear why. Typically it's psychological, right? It's, I paid into this thing. I want to start collecting money. It's typically not a financial reason. It's typically health or just psychology. Some of you say, well, I'm going to collect it and then I'm going to invest it. Well, leaving it with the CPP and not taking it, you're getting a decent return, 7.2 to 8.4% rate of return. It's guaranteed. There's some internal factors to the calculation that will actually help it grow much more than that we've done a video on as well. We can link that up above. But typically deferring that CPP is going to make sense even when you retire early, and hopefully, this helps prove it. If you have any questions, leave them below. If you have any other ideas for videos for us around this concept, leave a comment below. We're always looking for new ideas on what you guys are looking for. Again, this channel is for you guys. It's not for me. I know this stuff. I do it every day. This is for all of our viewers to learn more, to get better ideas and concepts, and maybe think about something you didn't think about before. Thank you so much for joining us in this video. We really do appreciate the views. And if you're not a subscriber already, hit the subscribe button below. We'll see you in the next video.